Who's going to talk a little bit about their farm-to-table company that they've that he mentioned. So
that's her company. Totally separate company.
Her company. So 6 minutes on the clock. You're up.
All right. My name is Vanessa Driscoll. I'm with the Farm Table Event Company, which kind of evolved over the year out of several different things. I moved back to Columbia from Asheville, North Carolina in 2009, and was doing still national event work and contracted out, and I'd kind of been doing these huge large-scale events in DC and San Francisco and everywhere that focused on like what was local in those cities and environmentally sustainable and green businesses and things like that. And I realized I was traveling all over the country supporting communities that I didn't really live in. So I wanted to move back to where I lived and bring kind of the things that I knew and support where I grew up. So I came back and met Eric and his dad at the farmer's market, and I think they thought I was a little crazy because I walked up to them and I said, I want to throw dinner parties on your farm. And they were like, okay. And then within 3 months, we threw our first one. This October is 4 years that we've been doing the harvest dinners at City Roots now. We started out with 45 people coming to the dinners. Tickets were $45. And we were partnered with Chef Ryan Whitaker from 116. It was Eric, myself, and Ryan. And, you know, we just did it, and it was successful. And now, 4 years later, October 6th, we're having our first 106-person dinner on the farm. Our chef in resident, our harvest dinner resident chef is Christian Nini now, which also gives us access to Travis, who's the executive chef at Rosso, as well as Gordon, who's the executive chef at Bergen. So now I can have 3 resident chefs, which is great to pull from. We do a lot of different guest chefs. In that time, we also do a lot of other events. I got away from the festival world. When I came back here, they were doing the Tasty Tomato Festival out at City Roots. I helped out with that from a very small point, which Debbie was part of too. She's a volunteer master. Then there's Mardi Gras Festival, and I did a Green Fair Festival as well. And decided I don't like festivals anymore. It's just too much work. Too much work, very much not a big return for you. So we kept to the small kind of, you'll go to the next slide. Kept to the dinners that we do. So these are the dinners that we do out at City Roots. We do them at the greenhouse, we do them out in the field, and they've evolved. This is actually Eric's rehearsal dinner. They've all evolved into a lot of different events with guest chefs from everywhere. People come, and it focuses on local food. We have farmers come that speak at each of the dinners to tell people about where their food's coming from, as well as Eric, because all the produce with these meals comes from the farm, as well as local farmers. In the time that we've kind of evolved this, the events that I've done and taking over the rentals as well as City Roots has been able to help provide salaries for field managers at City Roots for them to buy new equipment. So it became this whole separate kind of revenue for the farm. My company itself, even though it's very entrenched in City Roots, also does a lot of other things. And the way that I built it was building really great partnerships with really great people in Columbia. When I was doing national events, I was the partner relations director for this Green Festival that had 35,000 to 45,000 attendees at it in each city. It was huge. I managed all of the sponsorships and media accounts. And it was something that I found that I was really good at, was building relationships with people and making them happy. And very good at kind of boosting everybody else but myself. So in turn, it was great to, boost City Roots, have them, these dinners, when you come out there, everybody gets to see the farm that they didn't even know existed in Columbia. They get to taste food fresh out of the field. They're sitting in the field where their food came from. And it's tapped into a market in Columbia who didn't even ever really kind of think about local food. When we first started doing it, it was a very small niche when I came back here. You'd go to every environmental or every food thing and you see the exact same people at every single one. My goal was to get everybody outside of those groups to come to the farm, and we've done it. And we've done it by word of mouth. I have a PR and marketing background, so that helps a little bit, but it was not by any means do we spend money, as you found out talking from Eric, on marketing a whole lot, which we want to focus on going forward. I also do community outreach and PR for the Oak Table Restaurant in Columbia, and help Bourbon with a lot of different things that they do as well. And then people can hire me to coordinate their weddings and smaller dinners and events. I definitely don't ever want to go to the large scale again. I feel like I did my time. So basically the whole company is built around building relationships in the community with other farmers, chefs, local businesses, as well as educating the public to what's available in Columbia and getting people in the Columbia community to support their local businesses. I'll tell you one thing about Columbia. Columbia does not like to pay, as Eric said, for food. They don't like to pay high prices for food. They don't mind going to Charleston and paying high prices. They don't mind going to Asheville and paying high prices. But they don't realize they have those Charleston and Asheville qualities right here in Columbia. We tried to raise our ticket price for up $5, and I got an email. It was like, people are like yelling at me. Literally for $65, you get a 4-course meal, paired wines, and a cocktail from some of the best chefs in town. And people are like, don't raise the price, and it's like, I went to Asheville. There's this organization called Outstanding in the Field that does what I do, these dinners, but they travel all over the U.S. and do it. And it's really neat, but their ticket was $180. And so, we went to...
You provided less than what we did.
Yeah, we went, you had to bring your own plate. And, which went with, there's a history to it, so I got it. But what was funny is I went to Brevard College, used to live in Asheville and Boone, and the farm that I was actually eating on was a girl I went to college with. And I was like, I just paid $180 to come eat on, somebody I know's house, basically. And we went to see what they did differently from what we do. The only thing besides bringing your own plate that they did differently was have bread on the table. We charge $65, they charge $180. And that's just to show you the difference of what people will pay for Asheville and Charleston, but don't realize they have the exact same thing here. And I think I'm at the end. On a side note, one of the things that was brought up earlier about price point for food, people spend more on technology than they do on food. If you think about how much money you would spend on an iPhone or or your laptop or anything like that on a regular basis, but yet you go to the grocery store and you see something that was grown organically, that's good for you, that came from a local business, and you balk at the price. And that's something you're eating. And yet, hey, I'm guilty. But you just got to think about it that way when you start to think about pricing of food and everything when you're going somewhere. Is that it?
That's good, yeah.
Okay,
Good.
sorry.
Thank you.